And so if you don't know who you are, you're not confident, you will fall apart in anything. Because now, even as leaders, if you don't know who you are and there are people looking up to you and you're looking confused, then they'll be like, what are we supposed to do?
Hi everybody, my name is Angie Murenga. You're watching Just Angie. It's Mwangi Monday, where we discuss all things governance. And I wanted to talk about leading through a crisis. So today I have an amazing panel of experts. Kio is not new to you, Auntie Kio, like we called her. She did one on lifestyle, which was very amazing a number of years ago. So, but I'll let them introduce themselves, but that's Kio and Jackie. So over to you, introduction and welcome to Just Angie.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pastor Angie. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to be here. As Pastor Angie introduced me, my name is Kio Mwirigi, and in this space, I'm known as Auntie Kio as well. I live by a life statement that says that I am a masterpiece, living in purpose, for impact, for His glory. That's my life statement, that I'm a masterpiece, to live in purpose, for impact, for His glory. And so that shows up in service to, first to God, to man, to country, and, in my workplace, in my social settings, and in every part where I influence. Yeah.
And today you're excited to have a conversation around?
Leading in crisis.
Excellent.
And we have a great practical example that I'll be sharing.
Yes, you reminded me about it. I was actually quite surprised. And Jackie?
Yes, thank you, Pastor Angie and Kio. It's great to be here with you this morning. And my name is Jackie Kimeu. I'm an event planner and event strategist. And for me, it's to create solutions for event needs. In this space where I serve in ministry as well and in the sector group, my purpose and vision is to learn, observe, and just to equip myself and to create value in whichever area that I'm plugged into. And I'm happy to be here to talk about leadership of self in moments of crisis.
Wow, it's so amazing. You're just so amazing. You're looking all so good. And you can't imagine this topic is leadership through crisis. And actually, Jackie's reminded us how they started. This is a part of the 12 ecclesias that we have, sector ecclesias that we have. And yours is the marketplace. Yes. And you're the leader of the marketplace. Is it?
It's Jemima.
Yes, Jemima. Jemima is the leader. And you actually executed your webinar first.
Yes.
And your topic was leading in crisis.
Yes.
And that was amazing. You had a panel from Uganda,
yes.
Jonita from Uganda, Stella was from Tanzania, and Rachel was from Nairobi.
Yes.
And we'll be posting the link for that particular webinar in all the 4 videos that we're going to film today, just so that if you want to hear more and learn more, then you have an opportunity to watch it there. And I loved your topic. How did you come up with the topic of leading in a crisis?
Jackie, how did you come up with that?
Oh, she came up with the topic. Okay, Jackie.
So we were doing a brainstorming session with the entire group, and I think the question was, what was relevant? What are people dealing with and struggling with today? And the key thing in the marketplace. And there was a total shift with what happened with our health crisis and the pandemic. So, and that had a ripple effect in every facet of our lives, relationally, business-wise, in government and socially, how we used to interact as individuals was totally different. So we thought, how do we lead in that forefront, and how can you be impactful? How can you still create value? How can you get very practical solutions towards moving in purpose and defining that more and clearly for people to actually take it and run with it? Yes.
Very practical. I loved it. And you set the bar so high. You were the first sector ecclesia to execute. The excellence was at another level, and that was amazing. Yeah. And then everybody was like, okay, we got to get it together because now we're all coming after this. Yeah. So, Kio, what is leading in a crisis? So how would you define it? And you said you had this example, which I'd even forgotten about. I'm amazed I forget about it. That was a real crisis, and yet it's gone. But when you reminded me, it's brought it all back to life.
Yeah. I think first we need to look at ourselves. Who are we? At the core. A lot of the times when you ask people, tell me about yourself, they go straight into like, this is what I do. But you see, that's, there's the be, there's the doing, and there's the having, right? So who we are is simply who the Creator created us to be, right? And in the book of Ephesians, it does elaborate on who we are. I just mentioned in my life statement, I started out by saying, I am a masterpiece, because that is who I am. There's no one else like me, you, or Jackie, or anyone else, right? And there's so much more that Jesus says about us in the Bible, that we are victorious, that we are healed, we are forgiven. You know, we have been made whole. So we are whole as we are. You see, the thing is, the devil comes to lie to us about who we are, right? Like, you're not good enough, you're not intelligent enough, you're not qualified. But what did God say? That he doesn't look for the qualified, he looks for the willing. So that, of course, is debunked right there, yeah? And there's a statement that I read last week, or I formulated a statement from something I read last week, that in life we have actually been living a lie or fighting a lie. But at the same time, we're not believing the truth.
That is so
which
true.
is scripture. So where does that leave us? Confused, struggling, and stuck.
And without knowing who we are.
Because we don't know who we are.
But
And we have to go back to the core.
Of who we are.
Of who we are, because what the crisis has come to show us, it's come to test us in all facets of our lives,
it has
in our
tested us in all ways.
Yeah. And so if you don't know who you are, you're not confident, you will fall apart in anything. Because now, even as leaders, if you don't know who you are and there are people looking up to you and you're looking confused, then they'll be like, what are we supposed to do? And you can't hide. And so that's when even now I wanted to ask you, do you remember where you were when we got the news on March 13th, 2020?
And I was like, first of all, you're the one who called, you know, and this is cool, calm, and chaos. So I had no issues picking up the phone.
Yeah.
Then the news you gave me, I was like, no, why did I pick up this phone? I should not have answered Kio's call.
You were in a frenzy.
But like when I was sitting down, and then you broke this news to me, and I'm like, and I was praying, because usually that's what I do, because the event, we had a massive event the next day, and so we're praying, preparing, everything has been done. You see, that's the problem with this crisis. Let me tell you, this crisis and pandemic. And then I kept thinking, so when you put the phone down, I was thinking, the CS could not have made that announcement tomorrow. That would have helped us, you know, like, and then I was like, and then God. So I'm confused now, because I'm speaking to the CS, I'm speaking to God. I'm like, excuse me, it takes us a whole year to plan an event. And
me who does sponsorship, I had bags in my house, 250 for our guests. Now,
what are we going to do?
But what we did actually, like the first thing we did, and I want to parallel this with what you can do even as a leader in whatever area that you're in.
And whatever crisis you find yourself in.
So the first thing we did is we gathered together and prayed. That's the first thing. And I know many people maybe don't believe in prayer or don't even think of that being the first thing. I think prayer centers you. It gives you calmness and it quietens the noise, so that you're able to think and to focus on what do we do next. And that's what we did. We prayed. And after that, we made a plan. From there we said, let us first consult with the hotel that was holding the event, because we need to know what their stand is. And they deliberated for how many hours? Two. Who was calling us all this time? All the guests, the sponsors, the guest speakers. Is it on? Is it not? But you see, the thing is, we have to gather the right facts before we disseminate any information. And that's so critical, even in any business. I remember Joanne Kiambati talking about her business. They had to gather the facts before they even, talk to their staff. You see, and that's what we did. So for the 2 hours, when anyone called us, we told them we're deliberating. We'll let you know in 2 hours, so that we don't cause panic. Because once you cause panic, then rumors start, and then everything goes out of hand. So that's what we did. Serena came back to us, and they told us that they're going on with the event. And so that's when now the third thing was communicate with the people who are relevant. And we communicated with them, and everything was fine. And I think after that we realized we also have to kind of be more malleable, more agile, adaptable to now the environment that we're in, because some people may say they're not able to come. A speaker may say, I'm not coming. You know, and that did happen actually. And some guests say they're not coming, they're not feeling comfortable, and just allowing people to be and being patient with people. So I think that's another thing that we need to allow ourselves to have that shift on mindset. And I think Jackie was also going to talk about, you know, the mindset. Yeah. And then after that, I think you were very available, you were present, and, you know, anytime we needed you, you were there.
But with a lot of pressure.
With pressure,
because
yes, but
it's like all the eyes were on me to make the decision. Like you were like, okay, Pastor Angie, decision number 1, are we going on with the event or not?
Yes. Yeah.
And let me tell you, that question threw me into a spin. Like, okay, I'll get back to you guys. Now, God, excuse me. What has happened? So I really had to pray, but I had this, for me, and I think that's important to understand your patterns, there's a stillness. When I make a decision, even if it looks contrary to everything else, there's a peace that I have, that I know this is the way that we are going, and we have to be very clear. But actually now reflecting on that, as a leader, you have to be very clear which way it is, whether it's one way or the other way, whatever way. Even, and I didn't even give anyone any explanations. Then people were praying. Then the hotel got back to us. Then now we informed some of our guests. I said, whoever wants their money back, give them back their money. But whoever wants to appear, let's do this.
Yeah, and so, I mean, you are available as much as, yes, you are a bit like, how is this going to happen? And you know, the thing is, we didn't defy anything, because I think, you know, when the CS came and spoke and talked about public gatherings being banned, public gatherings are like the political rallies. Then there's social gatherings. There's still weddings, there's still funerals. That was still on up to a certain number. And then there's also religious gatherings. And so I think that's what now the hotel were trying to figure out. What event is this, you know? And so that's why we stayed on. So we didn't really defy anything. We were going, you know, in tandem with what was said.
So that I can just, do you want to say something before I bring it to a close?
Sorry, Pastor Angie.
Go ahead.
So just to add what Kio was talking about, the importance of communication and speaking for the event sector. So what we said, we had a responsibility, not only as event coordinators, but the event owner as well, who owns the event and makes it run, and also to the publics who are attending the event. So what did COVID compliance look like, and what response do we have as a citizenry, as people, to make sure that we are brother's keeper? And so the importance of communication, working from the government level to the societal level, and making sure that communication is actually articulated very well and clearly. So that is a responsibility that has really come up very clearly from this particular pandemic.
Okay, so leading through crisis. So I hope you've gathered a lot of points from that. We're going to be doing this. It's a 4-part series. So today is part 1. So we'll see you next Monday as we continue this conversation. God bless you, and bye-bye.